This is Nate here with 10th Degree Productions, our blog site focusing on concert reviews, interviews with your favorite artists. Tonight we're here down at the Lightbar in Southeast Portland, Oregon, and I got a special guest, Eprom. How you doing tonight?
I'm really good, man. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Yeah, we're glad you can make it here with us. You just released your second album not too long ago. You've been on tour, looks like, all over the place. Could you tell us a little bit about where you've been?
For sure, man. Most recently, I just got back from a little tour down under. Did like Australia, New Zealand for New Year's, and I actually it was pretty cool because I got to play with some of my longtime heroes from back in the day. I used to produce drum and bass, so dudes like LTJ Bookham and Dylan Ja and Alex Perez and like all these old school drum and bass dudes. So that was really cool for me, you know, because I've been a huge fan of those guys for a really long time. So that was a cool experience, and just to be there was pretty cool too.
Nice, yeah, it's a pretty big honor to play with LTJ Bookham. He's been one of my big favorites over the years as well.
He's a super nice guy too. Yeah, it was cool.
Talk about what kind of gear you've been using. I noticed you have very unique sound design on this latest album, especially, man. Just some really gritty textures. What do you got in the studio?
My main machine is I'll use a Moog Slim Fatty to do a lot of bass lines and stuff, leads, effects, stuff like that. And then I do a lot of processing with various granular tools to do like stuff like the intro of Center of the Sun, intro of the album, is all done in granular synthesis software. And then, you know, I mainly use Ableton to sequence, and that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Cool, yeah, big Ableton guy. Are you using Max for Live at all?
Yeah, I use Max for Live. I'll usually just sort of download the ensembles that people make and open them up and get what I can out of them, you know, just record everything I do. And you end up with a lot of just cool little like vittles, and you can go back and like mine them for the good stuff later on, you know. So I'll sort of treat it like kind of like an experimental instrument and just record the whole thing and then use that for source material, you know. Yeah.
Did you get much chance to write on the road while you're out at all?
Yeah, I write on the road. You know, I'll do stuff in headphones, and I've actually made a lot of tracks on the road. You know, on planes and hotel rooms, stuff like that. Yeah, yeah.
So what's your favorite place been so far that you've been around? I mean, you've hit Europe, Australia, you're saying, all over North America.
Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I mean, I really like playing in North America, Canada. It's, you know, the crowds are super up for it. I just played in Melbourne on New Year's Day, and that was pretty fantastic. It was like a day party, so everyone was super, you know, high energy, and like it was a lot of fun. But yeah, I love playing in LA, Low End Theory. You know, I love playing everywhere pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's killer. Low End Theory is a great place, man. And I see Gaslamp Killer's got your back on a lot of stuff. So you guys pretty good friends, or?
Yeah, man. We've been friends for a few years. He's a really big supporter, and he's just a fantastic dude. And he always shouts me out, you know. He's always like, "Yo, this is the motherfucking Eprom right here." And so, you know, it's cool, man. He's awesome. He'll play, you know, a couple of my tunes in a row. But like, yeah, he's a homie for sure.
Cool. So, you know, as far as production-wise and playing out your performances, do you find that you have a big different approach, or are you using Ableton Session View?
No, I use Ableton sort of like as a DJ set with some additional stuff like cutting up little one-shot samples and doing live effects and stutters and filters and stuff like that. But my production workflow is totally different, you know. Production, you know, I'll produce a track, render it, pull it into Ableton, and it's like ready to go, you know.
You have a favorite piece of gear for what you're playing live, or do you just kind of have a rotating arsenal?
I've been bringing out like the Moog Slim Fatty for the live shows and stuff, which is fun.
You got a lot of hype these days around your mega superstar DJs and how that fits into, you know, technology adapting with DJs and what's making it easier, what's making it harder for DJs. What's your view on this, and where do you kind of feel like where you stand in the mix?
I think it's generally really a positive thing. It's just bringing more people into the fold as far as like paying attention to electronic music and dance music and stuff. I think it's a good thing. I might not love every mega DJ, but I see it as a positive thing for the community. Yeah.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of educational factors coming into the scene, with your Red Bull Music Academies and Legacy Institute, some of these other online programs like DubSpot. Have you had a chance to get involved with any of them at all?
Well, I actually taught a couple classes in Australia a couple years ago, just about production, which is really fun, man. And it's a whole different experience. It's like way harder to prepare a class than it is to like get ready for a show. It's a whole different world. But yeah, so I've done that, and I'm going to apply to RBA MA this year, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see where it goes from there.
So it's pretty interesting. You say it's different trying to set up a lesson to teach. On the opposite side, I mean, what's the biggest stage and crowd you've played to, and how's that feel comparatively?
What's the biggest? I don't know, man. I've played at like Shambhala. That was pretty big. Just festivals around the U.S. and I played one called Lowlands in the Netherlands that was totally off the hook, and like this huge stage, and crowd was super. They were just like yelling on like every drop. Like it was fun, man. And that's like super rewarding. Like that's the best for me is like playing really really weird shit for huge crowds and they're into it,
What are you listening to these days? You say you like playing some weirder stuff to get people going as well. What are your favorites that you might have, in your computer or online or anything?
I've been listening to a lot of experimental shit, a lot of ambient stuff. There's a group called Empty Set that's from Bristol, and they're fantastic. They sort of make throbbing, semi-tonal bass music, but it's like not traditional at all. It's super super interesting, and they have their own kind of distorted textures. I'm really into them. Really into this guy called Sleep Research Facility, who does stuff like he'll hook up electroencephalographs to his head and measure his brain waves and use that to modulate the parameters of synthesizers to sort of generate this like cool, dark, ambient soundtracky type stuff, which is I'm really into that right now. Yeah, just experimental stuff, Yeah.
Would you ever see yourself doing film work, scores, and that sort of thing at all?
Yeah, I'd like to do that for sure. Yeah, I've sort of started experimenting with making music that sounds a little bit more like that. Stuff with slow evolving ambient textures and stuff. And it's fun, it's a challenge. And I'm doing it without any particular film in mind. I'm just doing it, like the imaginary visuals in my head, But it would be fun to work on that kind of project for sure. And that's definitely something I see myself doing in the future. Yeah.
So as far as visuals and that sort of thing, have you played much with like 3D mapping or doing projection work for your live shows?
Yeah, we're actually doing. My friend runs this thing called Prism Lab, and we're doing like live visuals tonight. We built a bunch of custom content. Our homies Thought Cloud is like another visuals company, and they make amazing stuff, and they've contributed a whole bunch of 3D work for tonight, and I'm pretty excited about it. We have like it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. You
live in Portland now. Tell us, do you have any favorite spots that you like to come and hang out at all when you're in town? Restaurants, venues, anything really?
Yeah, restaurants mostly. Yeah, Portland's a big food town, and like, yeah. What am I into? I don't know. Lately, I've been really into this place called Old Salt, which is like a bar near my house. Branch, it's the best whiskey bar. There's so many good spots, man. I can't even like think of them right now because there's so many. Yeah.
You've been getting around a lot. You're on a Netherlands label, if I'm not mistaken. How'd you get involved with them?
It's probably like in the MySpace days. homie Akashar Erawina was like hitting me up for tunes, and I sent him like all these tracks, and he was like, this one, like let's do an EP. So we did an EP, and it just snowballed from there. Did an album, did 2 albums, you know, a bunch of singles and stuff. He's a super big supporter and fantastic dude, and he's a good guy to like, I throw him all my tracks and he'll sort of be like, these are the ones, and the album should be this kind of flow, you know? Because I'm not that good at like programming an album, and he's really good at it. So he's a good like sounding board for those kinds of ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have a great supporting cast with you. I mean, do you find that European has a little more support for you, or is it kind of spread around? I mean, you get around the globe a lot. Who do you think are the best fans out there?
Well, Europe is definitely awesome, and I've been out there a bunch of times, like in the past year, and they're amazing, you know, for sure. But, you know, my home base is definitely like West Coast U.S. It's everywhere now. It's like a global scene now. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Do you find that SoundCloud and, you know, the advent of a lot of other social media and networking places like that have helped you out at all?
It's definitely helped me out, that's for sure, yeah. And it's a good like music discovery tool, and you know, SoundCloud is like this crazy, awesome, fucking intricate like maze of music, and you could just get lost in it like so easily. As a promotional tool, it's amazing, you know? Yeah.
So, up and coming music, I know you've got sort of a cross-genre mix with your stuff, but there's some trap elements, a little bit of dubstep. I've noticed a little bit of footwork coming out, and you know, when we were with Michael's tour bus, you were playing some in the background there. Yeah. You're listening to a lot of that kind of stuff lately?
Yeah, I've been really feeling a lot of footwork. DJ Earl, all the Tech Life dudes. Mark Pritchard has been making a bunch of footwork that's like off the hook, and yeah, I've just been feeling that kind of vibe. Really into the like Kudo and Ital Tech album that just came out. That kind of stuff, you know. So it's kind of got this footwork influence, but it's very like synthetic. And like it's not as raw as the like old school Chicago kind of footwork. It's more designed, you know. So I'm kind of into that direction that the sound is going. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely love that stuff. I've been making a lot of that 160 kind of stuff lately. It's really fun. Yeah.
Well, you said you were a big fan of drum and bass growing up, so I would imagine that plays a part in it quite a bit.
Naturally together, for sure. When I first heard footwork, I'm like, oh, this is like, you know, it's not the same, but it's like tapping into that same kind of feeling when you're dancing to it, you know? Yeah.
How do you feel about twerking and the whole movement there?
Twerking. Oh, man. I don't know. I you know, as long as like dudes have been making music, they've been like making music for girls to dance to. So this is just the latest step in a long evolution, you know, twerking. We've arrived at twerking.
You got a set coming up here pretty soon at the Branks. Have you ever played at the Branks before?
No, I've played upstairs at Rotour before. Never played at Branks, but they brought in a bunch of extra sound, so it should be fun. Yeah.
Well, we're all looking forward to it a lot. It was really great to have you out here tonight, and hope your set goes great. It was a pleasure.